Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever is pounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast, detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us again on Morning Spring for today. This is a program that highlights, discourses, have conversation, on issues of public importance. This is what we do here at this time. Femi Ojo is my name. Every weekday, we are here to serve this program to you a la carte, as they say. Thank you for being with us again. And of course, Evelyn is there. Good morning.
Good morning, Femi. How do you do?
The pinky lady. Good morning.
It's great to be here this morning. Good morning, people. Thank you for joining us on the Tuesday edition of Morning Spring. We are delighted to have you on board this beautiful day. It's looking like, okay, we have the rains, in the middle of the night, and it seems the weather isn't clear yet.
Yeah,
so
it's a bit cloudy.
if you're in Oshogbo, try as much as possible to go out with your umbrella and wear something thick.
Yeah, that's very correct. That's a weather report from Evelyn Ohiolei, yeah, and it's very good. And of course, wear your kids warm clothing.
Yeah.
As well, even while some of them they don't like it. The moment you take away your face, you see them pull it off.
It's not about what they like, it's about what they need at this time.
The necessity.
Yeah.
And of course, talking about taking our health seriously, there's been this cholera situation outbreak in Lagos, and then we learned that through the Ministry of Information in Lagos, Ministry of Health rather, that the cholera strain in Lagos is quite an infectious quite a serious one, because there is fatality already, and so every state should take precaution. Either you have people coming in from Lagos or you going to Lagos, even if you don't have anything to do with Lagos, just take care of yourself, wash your hands, as and when due, practice safe hygiene so that we stay alive. A lot of things to talk about today, but then we will do justice to that. Let's inform you that we are live right now on our YouTube channel and other social media platforms, all at Western Spring Television. We take this break. We'll be back. All right, let me start the headline segment from this paper, Conscience Nurtured by Truth, called The Guardian. The Guardian newspaper have this bold one with an inscriptive picture there, image of, okay, let me read out the topic firstly. Anxiety, or the headline rather, beg your pardon, the headline. Anxiety has 200% hike, scarcity hit hospitals, essential drug market. Of course, you see that picture of a patient possibly at a pharmacy shop. You could see the gesture of the pharmacist there. The shelf even is virtually empty, and then the available drugs are not even or almost, you know, out of the reach of the common man, and you could still see the patient in pains, in bandages. This is exactly what Guardian is showing us this morning. And are out of stock. Anxiety has 200% hike. Scarcity hit hospitals, essential drug market. And with this one, doctors worry over unavailability of drugs for their patients. Resort perhaps. Evelyn, this is where we are. And this is one more reason why you should do everything to stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
Please stay healthy. Resort to herbs. All right. Cost of revenue collection drops to 14.29 billion naira in quarter one of 2024. Cost of revenue collection, GOPS rather, to 14.29 billion quarter one 2024. News page 3 has that. Students' loan application, surmounting Alanog database, shady admission hurdles, and others. Is a news analysis. On page 4, stakeholders fume over federal government's plan to develop new deep sea ports. Stakeholders fume over federal government's plan to develop new deep sea ports. Business week 15. And Hajj, 19 die. Others missing as heat wave forces Saudi Arabia to reschedule stoning ride. It's the story coming from Saudi Arabia, from Mina, Mecca, Jeddah, especially the Hajj, going on right now. It's been a sad one. And we learned yesterday the Saudi authority, they had to put a time frame to say from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. no pilgrim, should come out at all. Just stay indoors because of the extreme heat, the kind of heat that is killing people.
Yeah.
That's really extreme, really. And they have told the people, please, and we want to encourage the Nigerian people, because I think there is a thing we have with obeying instructions. Maybe it's the system when we are here, because the same Nigerians, when they get to other climes, they will obey the same instructions that they wouldn't. Here, 19 persons they have died. And it's a sad situation because of extreme heat. These are situations beyond human capacity. So do whatever you can do to stay indoors till the time is right. Lukman Abdul Razak, others score Tinubu's administration on economy and promises. You want to know their score, the score that is given to this administration. Abdul Razak is the governor of Kwara State, and of course the NGF chairman, and of course he's of the APC. Lukman, on the other hand, used to be the vice national chairman, in one of the regions of the APC, and I think he has left now. Not too sure about that though. News page 6. Youths occupy Rivers Council Secretariat as 21 chairmen vow to return to office. Air Force confirms killing 100 terrorists in Casina raid. Please keep up the heat on these criminals. We don't just do, by the way, these big ups to them, but don't just do this and then retreat.
Yeah.
And then give them time to regroup, because that's what they do. They regroup again and they begin their onslaught. Can we do that on each end? As that heat is being given to them in Katsina, let it be done in Zamfara, in Sokoto, in Kebbi, so that they don't have time to migrate to other states and go and regroup and come back.
Sure.
Again, multidimensional approach, so that to root off these individuals. And maybe finally we should talk through to ourselves. These issue of forgiving, repentant, bandit and Boko Haram members and terrorists. Obviously, it hasn't worked, but then it is what it is. But just a quick one on this one that I read earlier. Youth occupy Rivers Council Secretariat as 21 chairmen vow to return to office. We learn in the Kalabari region of that state, the Kalabari ethnic people, the 3 local governments situated there. Youth went there yesterday to tell those men, don't come back. Their tenure elapsed, we learned yesterday or so, And so that's the end of it. But then it seems the chairman or the former, do we say they are ex-chairman now? they are promising and they are vowing to come back as well. Whatever you do, either as ex or as current champion or the people or the youth, let peace reign. That is the main thing. That's all from the front page of The Guardian. Evelyn.
All right, from the Guardian newspaper this morning, we head on to the Punch newspaper, so we can know what headlines are, on the front page of the Punch newspaper. And boldly written there is the cause of concerns in some states, and we should say nationally, cholera spread. Fear of school outbreak rises as pupils resume. With the ride, Lagos Emergency Committee meets, UNICEF experts urge sanitation in schools. And this is a call for us to return to the normal and proper hygienic environment, and probably returning to what we had during the COVID era, but without the wearing of the nose mask now, where we had clean water in schools and also have children wash their hands at intervals when they come into school. Wash hand basins all around.
Buildings,
So I feel we should go back there. And, if you know that your kid is not feeling too well, this is not the time for you to push the kid to school just because you want to go about your own business. Ensure that you take care of your kid very well, adequately and appropriately.
Even yourself.
So that you don't put other kids in danger. You have to right now be concerned about other kids, because you might have the provision to take care of your kid. What about that parent that does not have enough provision or resources
the economic situation
to take care of that kid? So it must be you looking out for others, being your brother's keeper at this time. And of course, the government should rise up to the occasion. We need to curb this at this time, as it is now, before we have a national spread of cholera. Away from that, Salah, National Assembly leaders visit Tinubu, pledge support. And of course, you can see the picture there of the different National Assembly leaders, as well as Mr. President and also some of his cabinet members there in that photograph. And people would always say, we must always have this. I know some people have been looking forward to seeing this photograph of, leaders, probably governors or National Assembly leaders go to the president in Lagos to pay homage. And you're like, are we in a monarchical kind of situation? Is this a monarchy?
I think it's a convention that has come to stay.
Set up by who?
That's why it's a convention.
Because the same people will see themselves in Abuja.
It's not a law.
So why do you have to go to Dotton Barracks?
Yeah.
To see Mr. President and pay homage for Salah?
Somebody that you could FaceTime or just put a collar across.
Exactly.
You're forgetting in this nation.
I would actually.
A governor wanted to send pictures. He had to go by himself. Picture.
I remember that. I would understand if they were all residents of Lagos. That okay, let's just go visit Mr. President. But
and
when
these
you
guys
have
don't fly commercial.
When you have to fly in to greet Mr. President
Private
for
jet.
what you actually can do over the phone. I don't know what else they discussed at this meeting, because they've pledged support and all of that. So they might have discussed some things even national, not just personal. But then a lot of people see this as a waste of time, waste of resource.
It is. Let's just say that is what it is. Who paid for that flight that he took? If actually the governor, as an individual, would pay from his pocket, that would be fine. But we all know these. I just talked about a governor that had to, give pictures to the president, and he had to go by himself, and he can't travel as an individual. At least we have a couple of persons
to go with his entourage.
With him, only for the same president. That was under former President Buhari to say during an interview, I say, some of you were having issues, and then in your state, and then you brought pictures for me. I looked at it and kept it in my shelf. That day I was like, really?
Well, it is what it is. This is Nigeria. Let's move on. Still on the Punch newspaper this morning. Presidency, Obi clash over new presidential jet. And it's not just the presidency and Mr. Peter Obi that are exchanging words at this time. it's this particular purchase of presidential jets has set up controversy, you know, among Nigerians, especially on social media, on why we need the presidential jet at this time. And this actually reminds me of when we had that controversy surrounding the whole purchase of the yacht at the time, why we need that billions of naira to purchase the presidential yacht before the presidency said, you know, they were not going to buy later. We heard it has already been bought just for us to push out the money. And, you know.
The presidency said, no, we don't need it. So I think it was the Senate that said the 5 billion that was supposed to use
will
for
be
that,
put on the student loan. Yeah.
Issue. And then till now, we can't really.
We don't even know
we can't really tell.
Exactly.
If that was bought or not.
Exactly. And, you know, there is this
now it's about aircraft.
Notion of probably this presidential jets have already been bought and we are just giving the announcement or as if it wants to be bought. But whatever the situation is, there is the question surrounding why do we have to purchase presidential jets at the same time. Some people say, why can't the president fly commercial flights? There are presidents that fly commercial planes.
To show that same sacrifice these people have been putting on
campaigning for,
sacrifice, like we went to Babalao's house. It's always sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice. Now that there are some issues, you know, with the presidential fleet or whatever, and that Committee on National Security and something at the House of Reps that came to that conclusion and put
as a matter of urgency. I mean, as a matter of urgency. That is why people are having the notion whether it has actually been bought.
The matter of urgency that was used in the national anthem, the national, urgency or whatever that is being called, matter of urgency. Excuse me. Now, matter of urgency that has been profiled now that should be used to get this presidential aircraft. The same matter of urgency has been missing in the wage negotiation.
Yes.
Even between you and I and Nigerians, we don't know the point where we stand right now with the minimum wage.
Yes.
For months, national urgency or whatever, matter of urgency will not suffice when it has to do with the people. But when it has to do with few individuals, yes, we are talking about the president and his vice. They deserve, you know, to get whatever their office says they should get. But then this is the time for them to sacrifice.
I mean, there
is airpeace.
We are having one too many because we just had the commissioning of the vice president lodge that actually gulped billions of naira. Now you're asking the people to sacrifice again for their president to fly a new presidential aircraft.
Don't forget that residence of the VP that was commissioned, the budget was in this year's budget. So meaning in this year's budget, there will be release of funds, there will be completion of project, there will be commissioning of that project in this same year's budget. And we have so many projects that has to do with the people that have not even been touched.
And we are hearing actually of a supplementary budget going to the National Assembly for approval. And we sure know that we might have this purchase of presidential jet in there because I know it was not in the earlier budget. And also there is this question of what is the fear? Of course, people brought up the topic of we have been hearing jet crash or airplane crash of leaders of nations, the Iran own and now Malawi, and you know, probably they are trying as much as possible to guard Mr. President, which yes, we cannot say should not be guarded. I mean, he is the #1 citizen of the country, but then at what cost, at what expense?
It should be.
Is it at the expense of people that are sacrificing a whole lot? If you could fly commercial flight, I think he can. We have airpeace, like you said earlier. Mr. President can make use of that if really he wants to sacrifice for the people.
And let the people see for the first time that you are going through some difficulties to achieve some things. Not that everything is just dropped at your feet as a matter of urgency.
Well,
these are the issues.
Let's see how this will actually pan out. Nigerians are really waiting for the outcome of this. Away from all of that, 3-year-old boy missing during Salah celebration in Lagos. It's ought to be celebration, but we have parents looking for their 3-year-old boy as it is right now. We know how it's always busy on the Eid ground. I think the boy got lost during the Eid prayers, after the Eid prayers, and probably strayed away and didn't know where he is at this time. We hope this boy is found. He's just 3-year-old, and we do not know what might be happening to him at this time, where he is, you know, the conditions he might be in at this time. It's worrying to think of, let alone his parents that are going through this turmoil at this time. We hope he's found in good health. Abducted MD, others still in captivity as rescue efforts continue. And top corner of the Punch newspaper this morning, 137 federal institutions subscribed to student loan. This is according to Now Fund. You know that some weeks ago, the student loan platform was opened for students to apply for the loans. Import duty, FG summons 80 private jet owners over operating papers. And with the rider here, customs plan clamp down on improperly imported private jets, begin probe Wednesday. And lastly, on the Punch newspaper this morning, Senate to receive 2024 supplementary budget in July. I said that earlier, and Nigerians are asking what for, what is contained in this supplementary budget. Although some people have said we are going to have a supplementary budget because the exchange rate at which the budget was passed is not what we have at this time. So there is need for that to be, you know, reconciled. Is for that to be reconciled. And of course, we are looking forward to if we're going to see the presidential jet purchase in there. That will be all from the Punch newspaper this morning.
All right, punching it straight to the Daily Trust right now. Through the Daily Trust, we have these, which is very, very instructive and timely at this time. Sacrifice. Lead by example. Nigerians reply, Tinubu. You know, it talked about sacrifice, especially, I think, at the Eid praying ground when pressmen were with him, and he talked about love your neighbor, love your country. But then he started with, this is the time that we need sacrificing Nigerians.
Yeah.
So since yesterday or thereabout, people have been saying, what's more? The sacrifice. I think the only thing remaining is people's lives, and then the leaders must show, and that's what the Daily Trust has on its front page. Sacrifice, lead by example, Nigerians reply, Tinubu. And I think whatever heat, you know, that statement is generating is well duly deserved. My opinions, by the way. Tinubu didn't replace Murtala Mohammed Way with Shoyinka federal government. And Daura Katsina hold Sala Doba. Daura Katsina hold Sala Doba. This Doba, you know, it has to do with the climbing of horses, racing, singing, chanting, and having fun. You know, and that is mostly done at the northern part of Nigeria. You know, it was kind of cancelled in Kano because of the obvious, but then we learned it's going to happen in Katsina in Daura. This is part of what people get to enjoy as part of their holiday, especially at this season. I think the holiday ended yesterday, right?
Today. Tends today.
Okay.
Yeah, the
so
holidays.
we still have holiday today?
Yes.
Okay. You people still have holiday, but
what you people? There is still holiday for everyone.
For everyone, right?
But for obvious reasons, we are here in the studio.
This is what we do, and we enjoy doing what we do. All right, that will be all from the front page of the Daily Trust.
All right, from the Daily Trust, we move on to Nigerian Tribune. On Nigerian Tribune newspaper, tension in Rivers over control of LG. Councils as tenure of chairman expires. With the riders' youth storm LGA secretariat, ask chairman to vacate office, and police warn troublemakers. That story is on page 14 and page 4 of Nigerian Tribune. People are actually waiting to see if the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Sim Fubara, would be appointing caretaker chairman to see to the affairs of the different local governments in Rivers State. and also whether there will be an election later on. But we all know the provisions for an election that will be later on. But then we know, we move on. Let's just move on right now. Obasanjo visits Tinubu's wife in Lagos, and we can see the picture of former President Olusegun Obasanjo with the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, at the Lagos residence of Mr. President. And this very particular picture has generated controversy, you know, some heat on social media. People are asking, especially the Tinubu supporters are asking the Labour Party, or the obedience, let me put it that way, have you not seen what is happening? Are you going to still cancel the former president? That's the question on their lips, you know. People think that whenever you see anyone associated with the president, especially the Labour Party obedience, let me put it that way, for people that supported the obedient movement and the Labour Party presidential candidate, if they see them, you know, hobnobbing with the Tinubu camp, they are seen as, oh, you have gone to dine with the devil, and they are, you know, being cancelled. We know what happened to Donyo Kukwe. Right now, people, they are asking, are you going to do the same with the former president?
The right language should be when you see them visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you say hobnobbing.
Well, we do not know the reason for this visit anyways. And of course, there was a
this
cap,
one man that he doesn't disturb anything. He doesn't take away anything from him.
Yeah.
If he sees whatever is wrong, at that same table, he will revoke it.
You know, he was a very open supporter of Mr. Peter Obi in the last election. So people are wondering, is it that Baba is shifting camps at this time? What is there? What is the rationale behind this visit
of the First
Lady? Exactly. And, you know, people have they have right to thinking what they want to think, their opinions, by the way. Obi kicks against proposed purchase of presidential aircraft. That's on page 14. Is saying government's plan to buy new jets demonstrates extreme insensitivity to citizens' struggle. And away from that, reps push for elections of president, NAS, state assemblies, same day. That's for the presidential election, NAS election, and state assembly elections to be conducted the same day. Does this mean that the governorship election will be conducted a different day, while the NAS for the federal and also the state assembly elections for the presidential will be done the same day? All right. Algon seeks 4-year tenure for LG officials. Hoodlums attack Plateau board officials, burn vehicles, 10 vehicles, burn houses rather, 10 vehicles. A Nigerian pilgrim dies of heat stroke on Arafat Day. Top corner, talking about cholera now. Nigeria must prevent spread to schools, says UNICEF. Cholera strain in Lagos highly contagious, but cases now declining. State government speaks rather. Nigeria's inflation ranks highest among African countries in May. This according to research. Our inflation rates going all-time high, and we are not only claiming giant of Africa in good things. This one right now, we are also claiming that we are leading, even when it comes to inflation rate. Lastly, on Nigerian Tribune, board appointment. APC members reject Abia nominees, writes Tinubu, say only 2 belong to party. These are party matters, by the way. But that will be all from the Nigerian Tribune.
You know, this situation of board appointments, especially to tertiary institutions, have been generating so much ripple, you know, especially there was, after it was published, there are backlashes. Some state representatives protested to say, how come some states have
more
representation in multiple digits, and some are having 1, 2, 3. And so that list was withdrawn. We learned there was, it has been published again, and people have it because some names are missing. It's expected. Once, in as much the institutions have not been increased, the same institution, and we want to have a shuffle of what has happened, or maybe when it was released, some have found out that their names are no more there. And you know what that does to people that have been congratulated earlier, possibly by their kinsmen, people of their village, to say, oh, finally we have our president, and all of a sudden your name is no more there. But then, just like you said, these are party matters, but it's supposed not to be about party alone. They're talking about leadership of institutions, and these are the issues. But lastly, on the headline segment for this morning, we have The Nation. The Nation newspaper. Emir crisis. Presidency dismisses Kwakwanso's Kano alarm. Again, Emir crisis. Presidency dismisses Kwakwanso's Kano alarm. With riders, ex-governor alleges state of emergency plot. Police warn against booing Sanusi. Okay, that's His Eminence Sanusi. Should not be booed. The police are the ones saying that. Security beef up around main palace, and there are reports, Evelyn, that the Eid prayer in Kano, you expect that is the Sultan that leads, the Emir rather, the Emir of Kano that leads, but we learned there were different Eid praying grounds, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi led in one, and then Adobayero reportedly led in another as well.
What I like to call division of labor.
Okay. All right. And of course, that picture that has been, trending of, it's tagged "Good to see you" by The Nation. Good to see you. First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, and of course, with former President Olusegun Obasanjo during the visit to Senator Tinubu at the presidential residence yesterday. What was the purpose? But by the way, some will say, why is Baba, why did he went to visit the First Lady? How about the man himself? Saying, okay, if you need to visit the family, that's one thing. Why are you visiting the First Lady? But then many persons, maybe they will not reckon that these individuals right now, they are beyond just the family. You can, the First Lady has an office, even if it's not constitutional. She has people she works with. She has an office, really. And the man doesn't really have to know about what, especially being the president and the first lady. But
so
then,
is it like you're saying that Baba visited the presidential lodge in Lagos and didn't get to see Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not aware that a former president came visiting? That story,
I'm not sure if actually, I didn't want to say went to visit somebody's wife. I didn't want to put that part, make it to sound like that,
Don't
but
cause
then,
commotion in the first family.
Yeah, these are public figures. But that the president will not be aware. I'm not sure there's anything that will happen in that place that he will not be aware. You can't even enter. If he's not aware, his handlers will be aware. But then Obasanjo is a public figure, a very big, iconic one. And the fact that he has gone for this visit doesn't mean if he sees something that he has to talk about with this same woman, the first lady, or the president, it will, the letters, lengthy letters. That's one thing about him. For whatever I believe in, rightly or wrongly, it will always be vocal. Now, to Rivers State, rivers of, do I say drama again? Yeah. Fubara replaces 23 Rivers Council bosses. Governors direct civil servants to take charge. This is a lot, and I hope security agencies will be they will man these councils, because you can't say civil servants should take over from former chairmen and you won't protect them. You know what happens? Their loyalists will come and descend on those people. You don't have to really think far. These are the way it happens. To say, oh, you are the one that wants to take over. I think we should not just throw people in the arm's way. We should allow peace to reign. And finally, Tinubu for Ramaphosa's second term inauguration. Tinubu for Ramaphosa's second term inauguration at the South African president. Algon canvasses 4-year tenure for council ESCOs. Algon canvasses 4-year tenure for council ESCOs. That would be all on the headline segment for today. And when we'll come back, we will be speaking to issues arising, matters arising, especially our democracy, deepening democracy and governance in Nigeria. It's key to note that this Ramaphosa's inauguration that we just learned that our own president, President Tinubu, will be attending, has been seen as, you know, as a yardstick, especially for Nigerians, to see. There was little or no election is perfect, even in the US, even in the UK, the greatest democracy is India, you know, some of these nations. But then there are no major glitches, so to speak. When we talk about glitch in Nigeria, everything went the way it's supposed to go. Technology was at full display, full use, and you know, the technology helped and aided, and we even learned there are pockets of you know, public viewing centers in which people can see the way this thing is going, uploading of results in real time, and now the people, they are already talking about inauguration. It's not about, you know what I'm saying? Next thing, we're done with it. The process are
looking at governance.
Let's just officially inaugurate this man for the second time, and he continue. Not issues of security, ballot box snatching, glitches, dropping of ball by you know, officials that are supposed to man these elections, and these are what we are seeing at this time. And we, Nigeria, are supposed to be the giant of Africa. But 2023 elections, 2024 election in South Africa, is there anything to really connect?
That's a big question there, Femi. A huge one we should be looking at. Like you said, the South African election, it might not be 100% perfect, but to some extent, like someone said, A is 70 is A, 100 is A is an A. So even if the South Africa election you score it 70%, it's still an A. You understand what I'm saying? And this speaks to when people are given what they want. And what they need. There is no room for rancor, there is no room for fights, there are no rooms for any form or sort of...
what they need?
What they need. Oh, yes. You know, if we had our last election, well, as what INEC promised the people that the results were going to be uploaded in
you know,
real
that's why I
time.
to brought in there to say INEC had what they need.
No, I'm talking about the people now. I'm not talking about
right.
INEC. I'm talking about the people. If they are given what they need and want, I don't feel we are going to have rancor and fight and this animosity going on all around. You know, look at what happened in South Africa. People were seeing the results in real time. And there was no room for you to say, oh, this particular result was T-Pexed. You know,
second guess
we were having people bring in T-Pexed results. You know, we're seeing on social media.
Mutilated results.
Mutilated results. People uploaded their face. Some POs uploaded their face instead of the results.
Cancelling of figures.
And for some time, the presidential result upload, there was nothing there. As in, a lot of people were calling for it. There were not. You told us it was a glitch. How come it was a glitch and that didn't affect the National Assembly elections? So it was a whole lot. There were a whole lot of people to actually distrust the system, and that particular situation widened the gap of distrust between the people and the government or the system, as it were, you know. And this particular South Africa election, I realized, you know, realized that the oppositions were brought into this government too. It was not a winner take it all kind of elections. They were brought
you know,
into.
It depends on the kind of democracy.
So it was more like
ours is different from that.
a national government of unity. And from what I heard, this is like the first time we're having something like that, where the opposition has roles to play.
Used to be the dominant party.
Exactly.
And now that their power has been whittled down, so they are to just have that national government, government of national unity to have a hold, especially at their parliament, and to have things done their way. We have a lot to
everybody has a say. That's what it means. Like he said, we have a lot to talk about. But we go for this break. When we come back, we're going to be speaking to the system that sees to the election of our public officials. Do not go anywhere. Still Morning Spring on Western Spring Television.